Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, they're holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and thanks for the raid earlier, or right on time, Colin. Thank you. I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you, Courtney, for noticing my hair. I had it braided yesterday, and it is, it's flat. It's straight. I can't, and then I tried to curl it. Anyways. I hope everybody's doing well. If it's your first time here, make sure that you subscribe because we do this every day, twice on Sundays. And if it's not your first time here and you're just here for, shits and giggles, then buckle up. We're going to start with a little fashion question, I think. You guys are going to have to tell me what you think of this case. It's just a quick one before we get going for the evening. Oh! Look at that. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you. Oh, hold on, Chloe. Thank you for helping me figure that out. Here's the thing. Yes, an amuse-bouche. Vince, thank you. Putting the words in my mouth. Amuse-bouche. An amuse-bouche. But speaking of amuse-bouche, please tell me what you have for dinner. If you didn't like what you have for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. Colin, thank you for being here. And seriously, I want to know what you guys think of this this hair. I don't even want to give it away by telling anything about it.
Victoria Mendez.
And counsel for the state,
Gabrielle George.
Victoria Mendez.
and counsel for the state,
Gabrielle George with the Office of Attorney.
I didn't even realize that we had the beep. The beep. What is that? I actually thought it was an animal. I actually thought that was an animal on his head. It is a man, and that is his hair. This is a very quick clip. This is, I can't. Listen, you gotta have some way to cover something up better than that. Right? Am I right? You have to. You have to. Oh, your guys' dinner sounds really good, but this is a man bun to an extreme. I'm gonna say Eileen extreme. Let's just listen to this guy's case, see what's going on. Do you think? I mean, let's not make any assumptions. My hair's looking good, Colin. I could probably try and replicate that, but it would be difficult because mine is very, it doesn't have body. It doesn't have body quite like him.
Victoria Mendez.
and counsel for the state.
Gabrielle George with the Office of Attorney General.
You may proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. If I may call Mr. Smith regarding service. Mr. Smith, did you receive a copy of the state's petition today via email when you spoke with someone?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I would pass the witness and ask the record to reflect that Mr. Smith was served with a copy of the state's petition today. And due to us having service on Ms. Mendez already, the state is asking to move forward with the rights hearing today.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Smith has been served and case is ready for a rights hearing. Mr. Smith, the Attorney General's Office, State of Texas, has filed a motion.
Mr. Smith, and whatever is on your head, please listen to us. First of all, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I got to scroll all the way back, all the way back, all the way back to here and say thank you to Reseller Road Trip Adventures. I know your card just expired. You got a new, it still says new member. I still love it. Thank you so much. Woo! Oh, and just right on time, Streamlabs, because that one took me a while. We have Beverly saying a late fee. Thank you, Beverly. I love it. Do we think, and also thank you, Casey Carey. I appreciate you guys telling me I look good tonight. His hair is moving, Chris. Yeah, it is. I actually thought about it. Like, I have this thing for overnight curls or whatever, and I thought, you know, you could do this here and get the the length, because my hair has the length. But I don't know, I just don't have the volume that he has. I don't know. Also, can we talk about the smell? Can we talk about the smell of the hair? Can we? Yay! Oh! Casey Carey, gifted memberships. Amazing! And look at that. I love it. New member. I thank you so much, Casey Carey. But seriously, I know you're going backwards. Oh, jeez. At first, I swear to God, when I saw this, I thought it was a fox. I thought he had a fox on his head.
For enforcement of child support and or medical support against you. Also for modification of child support and health and dental. The Attorney General's office is alleging you have failed to comply with the court's order in full. They're asking that I find you in contempt of court. And if I did, sir, there is a possibility you could go to jail up to 6 months and pay a fine up to $500. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give you 3 options. You have the absolute right to an attorney, but you could waive that right here today. If you do.
Before we go into hyper mode, because this judge deletes her shit all the time. First of all, I'm not really making fun of locks. I didn't even know that's what he had. That I'm honestly saying that. And the reason I asked that is because any long hair that has that much body, in my opinion, I don't know how you wash it. My hair is a fucking pain in the ass. It's that long, and it's not even close to that. So anyways, but not meaning to make fun of anybody. I really can't tell what kind of hair he has at this point. It just looks like a fucking fox on his head. And you'll find, if you're new here, you'll find we're very welcoming of everybody. And we make fun of everybody equally. Get the fuck on my screen and we'll make fun of you. And you can come and defend yourself too, but that's sort of the way that it goes. And so let me say thank you before we keep going. Casey Carey did that. And then, yes, Chloe. Thank you so much. Oh, it's a hamburger. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. And then we have, yeah, that's right, John. Oh, Cindy's becoming a member. Cheshire Cat, enjoy the channel, love you too. 5 months. And oh, hold on. Cindy had 2 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. NPC had 9 months. That's a baby. That's a baby. Thank you. Yes, and it is an island of misfit toys around here. Part of one of the shticks that I do, however, is and you know what, Jenna? Thank you. I actually appreciate that. We're always about different perspectives. One of my favorite things to do in life is change my mind. I love it. That's sort of what they're for. Your brain, anyways. But one of the things that I do around first, and you'll also find that I'm a staunch advocate for a lot of people that, whatever, regardless. Like, for example, I have a whole bit about smoke detectors and how the court should give out like the batteries for them and prevent fires, because it disproportionately affects lower income families and people that are in the court system, which is sad. But regardless, one of the things that I do sometimes is try and do quick change hair magic and make myself have the same hair as somebody on the screen. And that's mostly the way that I was looking at it. Like, how would for me to get my hair to stand up like that, it would be crazy. But good night, Colin. Thanks for the raid. Oh my God. Mark. Ah! I'll have you know, it used to take 10 times as long until I learned how to parry the alerts. But thank you, Mark, so much. Welcome to all the new members. We joke about it. Well, we do members only on Sundays. We do 2 shows on Sundays. Oh, so sweet. That's so sweet. Streamlabs is going to take a while to do that. Oh, Bad Scooter's jumping ahead of you in line. Watch this. Oh, please give him out. Uh-oh. I think we hit the limit. Oh, YouTube Daddy, why you be like this? Everybody was having a good time. Bad Scooter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hopefully YouTube Daddy will sort that out.
And the state proves their case, there's a possibility you could go to jail today. Second option, come back on November the 19th, hire your own private attorney. And between now and the next setting, the Attorney General's office will request 2 things of you to avoid their request of jail on November the 19th. Those 2 things are
To bring back a lump sum payment of $700 in addition to paying your current child support and medical support as previously court ordered.
Honestly, we don't even need to watch that clip. I did actually just grab it because of the hair and trying to make it look the same. Thank you, Chloe. Oh, I love the trees. The super chats still work. Yay! Thank God. Sometimes I get a little heart attack when the things stop being given out. I'm like, oh. But thank you so much. And please, yeah, thank you so much. Anyways, this case just gets reset, and there it is. Oh, it's not actually. That's Stacy. I love your name, Stacy, with an I-E. Thanks for subscribing. And he will get his money back. Bad Scooter will get his money back, or her money back, their money back. Money, 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 money. No, yeah, how it works, YouTube Daddy sometimes doesn't like to give out memberships. I think I've hit a cap for memberships. He doesn't give them out eventually, in my experience. But regardless, I appreciate all the thoughts about it, but they won't give out. So I beg you, please don't. I mean, thank you so much, but I have a bad feeling that they're not going to do that. They're not going to give out. But thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, YouTube, thank you so much, YouTube. I really appreciate that. Let's go to our title item for this afternoon. The case that is on the fucking card.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, what's up? Yay, thank
Hello,
you,
can you hear me?
Chloe. That's the
Yes,
super
we can
chat
hear you.
coming through.
One moment, please.
Okay.
Probably just the most recent one. Yeah.
County matter, Sarah Perkins versus James.
For the record, this matter is before the court for the purpose of reviewing records from the defendant's father's physician, I believe regarding a psychological mental health evaluation. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. President Attorney Alex Goldman, representing the plaintiff mother Sarah Perkins. Ms. Perkins is present, as is the defendant father James Wentworth. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
I don't know if Ms. Sopratter at the front of the court or Mr. Goldman, if you received his copy of any mental health evaluation. The court has not.
Your Honor, I did have an assessment that was scanned into the on-base file. Mr. Goldman received that while we were in court with Mr. Wentworth's permission. Mr. Wentworth directed me that it was sent, so I did not send it to the court.
Okay, that's fine, as long as you have reviewed it, Mr. Pratt. Right, and you received a copy of that assessment, right? Correct, Mr. Goldman?
From Ms. LaPrade, yes.
Thank you again, Legal Fiction and Bad Scooter. I apologize for I feel like the waitress when the kitchen fucks up, you know? When she comes out and she's like, I am so sorry. I know you ordered, you even prepaid. You in fact prepaid for your item here that we purported to be available. And then I have to come back and say, I am so sorry. We don't have any more memberships to be given out, unfortunately. I apologize, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But thank you. I wish we had all the noise.
All right, the recommendation, Mr. Pratt. Is to reinstate parenting time for the defendant father, Mr. Wentworth. Parenting time will be with my child at his home with the paternal grandfather present every Sunday from noon until 4 p.m. Parties shall meet at the Milan Police Station. And it's further on, Mr. Wentworth completed the mental health assessment virtually. That's the recommendation.
She does look like Snow White or Elsa. Quite an outfit for court. Thank you, Jelly Beans. I really appreciate that. I appreciate it. YouTube Daddy does not, evidently. But thank you. Thank you, Brew Crew. Thank you, Loud, for sneaking in. I saw that. I've marked it down. Thank you, MB, for the comment. And Judge, as usual, this is Judge Grumpy, we call him. Oh, Judge Grumpy. And so, you know what? I appreciate so much. I do. Every membership counts when YouTube gives them out. Seriously, though, I love you guys.
Yes, I did apologize for the timely fashion. I could evaluation, and I do appreciate the court's patience.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Goldman, does your client agree with this recommendation?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'll
let you, Mr. Wentworth, do you agree with this recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. I do feel that, I mean, every child should have both of their parents actively involved in their life. And this situation is something that'll never happen again. And moving forward, I think it's only best that me and Sarah do everything we can for this child. And any parenting time that I can get, I know it's just steps in a better direction. So from noon until 4 p.m. every Sunday would reintroduce my son's father back into his life, which I feel is important.
Well, it's important that you continue your mental health treatment, taking recommended to prescribe medications.
Yes, Your Honor. And I do believe the courts have received a letter from a counselor that did, I mean, just to reassure you that I am trying my best to show you that I am stable and I am able to provide Colton with a healthy and comfortable environment to grow up in. You know, I think every child should have that.
And obviously, we want the child to be safe when the child is with you. And we don't want to
Of
scare
course.
the child by any inappropriate or unusual actions, conduct on your part.
Of course, Your Honor, and I apologize for this entire misunderstanding. I think there's a lot of conflicting views as of right now, but I just want to show the court that I am perfectly capable of raising my son in a safe and healthy environment.
Do you live with your grandfather?
Yes, I do. So he'll be here all the time. I have a lot of family around here, and I'm sure none of us have seen Colton in 4 months, so he's going to get a lot of visitors from all of my family.
You continue to engage in regular counseling?
I can do that, yes, if you would like.
I'm not saying, do you intend to? Are you currently involved in regular follow-up counseling?
Yes. Well, once again, it's all done virtually. I did a session back when this first started, just trying to get steps in the right direction to providing the mental health evaluation. But if it would look better to the court that I see this therapist once a week, I can provide that.
When is your next appointment scheduled?
I could call her after this hearing and see when her next available time would be.
Are you currently taking any prescribed medications?
I am not taking any medications.
All right. No medication is being recommended, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I take Tylenol when I have a headache, but as far as carrying out my everyday functions, I don't need psychological any kind of a psych med. I'm perfectly capable of functioning just the way I am. And if I wasn't, I'm sure the psychologist would have prescribed something.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Mr. Going back to you. What's the basis for your client's objection if it's to be supervised by the paternal grandfather?
We don't think that there's been any evidence provided that shows that Mr. Wentworth will not traumatize his child further. We have this assessment where he basically told somebody over Zoom, I'm fine. The whole thing back in May was a misunderstanding. And the therapist said, oh, sure, he seems fine now. I don't doubt that Mr. Wentworth has periods of lucidity and stability. The problem is we need to make sure that it's never going to happen around his child again. The fact that he didn't automatically schedule regular therapy sessions and that no mental health medication is needed, the allegations in the motion speak for themselves. We'll have verification of those facts once we get the police report back, which is taking longer than I'd expected. They have until October 15th. The child is now in therapy. The therapist recognized that the child has been traumatized by this incident, a severe incident. Remember, Mr. Wentworth was naked with his child, ranting about radiation and planes falling from the sky. This wasn't some misunderstanding. He appears to have misreported the nature of his hospitalization to the psychiatrist or psychologist performing this assessment. He said that he was involuntarily committed for 10 days because Mrs. Campbell alleged that he was suicidal. That's grossly mischaracterizing why he was institutionalized for 10 days. We don't have any paperwork from Havenwick Hospital where he was institutionalized. We don't have any police reports verifying that what my client said is true. We don't have any indication that a mental health provider was given the full picture. I think that anybody who would read the motion would want to follow up and at least ask Mr. Wentworth some directed questions. But it appears that he just sat before somebody, said, I'm fine. And Mr. Wentworth does seem fine today. The problem is we really need to be 100% sure before we put him in the same room as a child. The court's own order states that he has suspended parenting time, not restricted, suspended parenting time until we have a mental health physician provide testimony to this court. I just think it's premature to put him in the same room as the child, Your Honor.
Well, that's
So
why
the report you received is not adequate, in your opinion, then, Mr. Goldman?
Correct.
Your Honor, if I may.
Okay, just a minute, Mr. Wentworth. Yes, the allegations are quite disturbing. Mr. Goldman, do you intend, and I realize you're new in the case after Mr. Keeney has left your office, and have you issued any subpoenas to the Trinity Health Behavioral Services Facility where Mr. Wentworth was institutionalized for what, 7 days or something, 10 days? Do you have those reports, police reports, medical reports? I mean, that would certainly provide the court some insight.
Certainly. Like I said, police records are forthcoming. The Michigan State Police told us that they have until October 15th to comply with our request. As far as subpoenaing the mental health records, I can get on that right away. Mr. Wentworth says that he has those in his possession. I certainly, if there was a way to allay my concerns, we are willing to be reasonable on this. I just think it's premature to take Mr. Wentworth for his word.
Well, with that being said, I'm sure if the psychologist, who is a medical professional that did conduct my evaluation, had any concerns, they would have put that in the summary. But
Well, I'm just going to step in there and reiterate what Cheryl said earlier, which is psychologists do not prescribe medication. They would refer you to a psychiatrist. So I have questions. Also, a 10-day hospitalization involuntarily is a long time to be involuntarily committed. To walk out and be like, yo, I'm good. No meds, no nothing. Just needed a break. Like, it's pushing it. It's pushing it.
I have received
Hold on,
counseling.
Mr. Wentworth?
Yes.
Did you inform your counselor, the person that did the evaluation, that you were institutionalized for 7
Yes,
or
I
10
did.
days?
I've explained them the entire situation.
Well, he lied about the situation.
Did you
I haven't
provide them a
lied
copy of
about
all the
anything.
records?
Yes, I have. I do have physical copies of those, and I have no problem submitting those to Mr. Goman. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm still here because I want to be the best father that I can be for my son, and I do believe he is entitled to that, and that's why we have.
Mr. Wentworth,
Yes,
we understand that, but obviously these allegations are pretty significant, pretty disturbing. And again, the
Well, I think
question is,
if-
did your counselor or the person who wrote this letter, were they aware of these allegations?
yes, they were.
Have they
And
looked at the reports from St. Joe's Trinity Health Behavioral Services? Do they have all those reports?
yes, I've submitted all the documents that I have, and I think if Child Protective Services had any more concerns, they wouldn't have dismissed the allegations, which I understand the severity of this. But I just want the courts to know that I am capable of providing my son with a safe and healthy environment. And the events that took place in the past, I mean, it can't be changed. There's a lot of conflicting views on it, but I can assure the courts that he will be in a safe and comfortable environment, and he will be supervised by my family members for this little bit of time that I get him on Sunday. I mean, it's not like it's going back to my normal custody, which was almost every weekend. I can understand Mr. Goman's perspective on this, but I can assure you that Colton was never in any danger. He will never be in any danger because I wouldn't put my son in harm's way.
Well, but I'm sure that he was very frightened by your conduct, Mr.
I mean,
Wentworth. So,
neither of us
Mr.
could have
Goldman,
expected
hold
my
on.
dog to jump out of the car either.
Mr. Goldman, does the letter that you received, does that person acknowledge review of the reports from St. Joe's Behavioral Services?
No, the entire assessment begins with James reported. So there were no records reviewed whatsoever by this person performing the assessment. I see Miss LaPrade here, so I don't know if she wants to chime in.
I'm just here in case Judge has questions.
So, Your
I'm
Honor,
sorry?
my concern is that Mr. Wentworth is self-reporting a version of events that dramatically minimizes things. Just now, he started to say, the dog jumped out the car. That's all we were doing is looking for a missing dog. He mentions nothing about being naked and rambling about radiation and planes falling from the sky. I think we all recognize that's pretty clearly a psychotic episode that would require more than a doctor saying, yeah, you're fine. No follow-up needed.
I don't mean to interrupt, but how would I be exposed to radiation? I mean, I don't work at a nuclear power plant, and in the state police assessment, I'm sure they will describe that I wasn't naked at all. I was simply walking down the side of the road.
I'm not sure that's the argument I would have gone with. Unique. Definitely. I don't know. I'm worried about the delusions. I'm a little worried. That is definitely not what I thought he was gonna say. Oh dear. Sometimes I find just the wackiest court cases. And I thought her outfit was crazy.
I wasn't naked.
Mr. Goldman, what information did your office have to support these allegations in the petition?
Ms. Campbell's word. I can also have her grandfather, who was there on that day and helped discover, he can come in to testify.
All right. All right, the court is not comfortable this time, Mr. Wentworth. We need something that from your counselor says that that person has reviewed all the records from
That's the Trinity
Well,
Health
you're-
that you're
from May
referring to. Is my
28th.
primary physician. They did review all of the documents that Havenwick Hospital gave me, and that's what they wrote in that summary that was submitted to the courts. But the last time we were here, you made it very clear to me that that was not a mental health evaluation, which I did in fact submit. The friend of the court has received it. I've given you everything that you have asked me, Your Honor, and I understand the concern that you have. But I can assure you that this little boy is in a safe home here. And even just for 4 hours on Sunday, I can show you that he will be in a safe and comfortable environment, and it will be supervised to alleviate any concern.
Well, the court's concern is that the counselor's recommendation letter is all about self-reporting. We need something more. I want to make sure that counselor has the full picture. So,
That was
Mr.
a
Goldman,
licensed
we either
psychologist.
need to get the grandfather, subpoena the grandfather, take testimony from him in terms of supporting these allegations. If it's just based upon mother's word. And Mr. Wentworth, we need something more, that that person has reviewed the records from late May, from May 28th, when you were hospitalized at St. Joe's. That
And
he's
that, like I
reviewed those
said,
reports.
my primary physician has, and that's the Trinity Health that you're referring to, that was written by my primary physician, who did take into consideration all of the events that took place that day that led to me being hospitalized. And I also informed the psychologist of all of this, the professional that did my mental health evaluation, which, to my understanding, mental health evaluations are conducted in a very specific manner. So I just did the way that they did it. I don't really know what more I can give you. I've received the mental health evaluation that you requested. It cost me almost $400 to insure
Understood,
you.
but understood, Mr. Roth, but it sounds like it's all based upon your self-reporting. They didn't do any background examination of records. It's all based upon what you told them. Today, you sound very good. Tomorrow, maybe a different story.
And I can assure you, Your Honor, that I've been stable this entire time. And what we're boiling down to now is a matter of what Sarah's saying against what I'm saying. And I don't want that to be the reason Colton doesn't get to have his father. You know, we could sit and argue all day about this and that, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be the best father I can be to my son. And I feel he deserves that, even for 4 hours on a Sunday.
All right, it is limited right now, Mr. Goldman, and the court's concerned about the time delay associated with separating dad or any parent from a child. So at this time, the court's going to adopt the recommendation that dad has parenting time at the home of the paternal grandfather Sunday from noon to 4 starting this Sunday. But the court's going to review this, and the court will, if necessary, will modify it. Number one, Mr. Wentworth, you need to get the court's not comfortable with the letter you have obtained. It's got to be something other than simply self-reporting. Mr. Goldman, if you want to come back, provide, you can subpoena the grandfather in terms of document what happened, and also get a police report and reports from the St. Joe's Behavioral Center. Will you sign a release, Mr. Wentworth? That would make things a lot quicker if you will sign a release for Mr. Goldman.
Well, apparently Mr. Keeney is no longer in the office, so I don't have any of Mr. Goldman's information at all.
Okay, Mr. Goldman is in the same office. He's representing the mother. Will you sign a release so he can get all the medical records at St. Joe's?
That's fine. And I have all the documents that he could ever need that I will turn in first thing Monday morning. And I'll sit down and talk to him about everything.
Do that, and that will provide some insight for Mr. Goldman and the court. But we'll try this parenting time. Make sure your grandfather's there. It's just 4 hours. Mr. Goldman and the court, at least with some comfort zone knowing that the grandfather will be there.
So that will begin this Sunday, you said?
Well, now getting to meet the Milan Police Department. How is mom going to know the grandfather's at the home?
Well, I mean, he lives here. So do I.
I understand, but we don't
He's more than
know
comfortable. I'm fine with her coming here and seeing him. If she'd like to be present for some of that, that's fine with me too.
She wants to make sure grandfather's there. Mr. Goldman, what about if is your client willing to drop off the child at the home of the paternal grandfather and make sure the grandfather's there?
Before we get that, Your Honor, can I say some more in support of our position?
I'm sorry, you want to? I think
that's
that's
asking you
what
to
totally fine with me.
reconsider, Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry.
I'm asking you to reconsider before your order becomes final today.
Well,
I'd like
you
to
said
say a couple
everything.
things additional in
What,
support of that
okay, go
position.
ahead. I don't know what else you want to add, Mr. Goldman. Go
The
ahead.
child just recently got in to see a behavioral therapist, and those therapists will testify that the child has been traumatized by spending time with father. I think
Do you
that
have a
we're putting
report
the
to that
child's
effect?
health at risk by prematurely putting him in contact with Mr. Wentworth.
I think he's being more
Do
traumatized by
you have
not being able to see
hold
his
on,
father.
Mr. Wentworth, don't interrupt. Mr. Goldman, do you have a
Sorry.
report to that effect?
Not today, Your Honor.
So we were just reporting what Ms. Campbell is reporting to you. So everyone's reporting something else. So we'll give you a quick review date. If you want to get a letter, then the court can, well, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to adjourn this matter. I'm going to be in the safe caution, but Mr. Goldman, you need to come back with documentation. We're not going to drag us out for 6 weeks. So you need to, if necessary, Mr. Wentworth, get the documents to Mr. Goldman's office. Mr. Goldman, get those subpoenas out today. And so the court will continue the ex parte order. The parenting time, we're going to hold off till we get more information. We're going to err on the side of caution. And you need a particular letter from the child's counselor.
Your Honor, that's
You're just not going to take whatever Ms. Campbell is telling you.
Your Honor, that's
Your
concerning.
Honor, at the next
Colton has got a family here. He has supervision. I don't know how much more I could give you. Just this little bit of time from noon until 4 on Sunday. Please just let me be my son's father for that bit of time. And in the process, we can submit whatever documents need to be submitted.
The court will not permit parenting time until we come back, and I'm going to give you a time. And Mr. Wentworth, provide as much information you can to Mr. Goldman so that we can reestablish parenting time when we come back.
Well, we have a hearing for the 5th of September. We have a hearing on the
5th at
5th.
1:30.
Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry, Your Honor, what was that date?
September 25 at 1:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's good for me, Your
Right,
Honor.
so Mr. Goldman, get some documentation together, because if we don't have documentation, I'm inclined to permit parenting time when we come back September 25.
Understood.
So
Your
we need
Honor.
reports from, yes, Mr. Brad.
Mr. Wentworth filed a parenting time motion that's scheduled to be heard before referee Homrich on September 5th at 2 p.m. I think that that should, in the fact that all this is being handled by your court, that needs to be vacated.
Yes, that'll be vacated. So Mr. Wentworth, that the hearing before the referee will be vacated. It's
Actually, that leans me on his side more. It is one thing to whine about something and talk about it, or to be mentally unstable and not able to file court motions, but the fact that he's filed a parenting time motion with the friend of the court on his own volition is actually, that bodes well. So that's good. That's good. The judge is not going to ignore that, and this is going to be on a fast track here. I think what happened here is Mr. Goldman went to bat. He basically was like, he didn't, in as many words, he was like, as an officer of the court, this is not safe at this point. But I mean, how often do you hear a lawyer basically grovel like that and say, like, can you please reconsider before you make your decision final? That's like almost begging in lawyer speak. But it continues a little bit. Let's listen to the rest of this before we get into our next hearing for the evening, which I apologize ahead of time is going to be even more cringy.
everything's coming to this court, we'll get much quicker relief. Because even if the referee recommends parenting time, it's subject to a 21-day objection period. So that hearing before referee Homrich, September 5, that's being canceled, vacated. You're going to come back to this court September 25th at 1:30.
So you're saying I have to, Colton doesn't, I just don't understand why this is all for Colton's best interest, but Sarah and her attorney don't have the proper documentation to show that I don't know how much more I can give you.
Mr. Wentworth, you don't have proper documentation either. I want something from a counselor that says that they reviewed those assessment records from St. Joe's Behavioral Center when you were admitted, and they know all the background allegations and facts, and rather than just self-reporting what you told them. Ms. Campbell self-reporting too, so I don't know what to believe. We're going to err on the side of caution to protect Colton, so we need documentation when we come back here. So the court would suggest go back to your counselor saying, here's all of my records. Then he can put in his letter, I reviewed the following documentation Mr. Wentworth provided me. I'm aware of the concerns, the allegations, And if you were in St. Joe's for what, 8 days? I mean, there obviously must
No, I
have
was
been
at
some
Havenwood
concern.
Hospital
You
for
weren't
10
just
days on
evaluated,
suicide
released,
watch.
Mr. Wentworth. So follow up with that counselor, have the counselor revise their report to the court. And Mr.
Well, the
Gomez, you have to give
psychologist that
likewise
did my mental health
documentation.
evaluation. Can I please, Your Honor? I just want this
So
to be
again,
clear. You don't have to do this again. Do you need documentation from a licensed psychologist or a therapist?
well, I don't know who did this letter.
Well, I have a letter to you from my primary physician, from a psychologist, and from a therapist. So I've given you all three of those. Which one do you need?
Well, I prefer the psychiatrist, but that psychiatrist should say, I've reviewed the following documents. I've reviewed the reports from St. Joe's Behavioral Center on May 28th, 2024. And I'm aware of the incident involving Mr. Wentworth back in that date that caused him to be committed to that facility. That they've got the history on it. Not
Well, that
just
was
what you're
the
reporting. They need to
psychologist.
rely upon documentation.
Yes, that was the psychologist that conducted my mental health evaluation. To my
Okay,
understanding,
but it's all self-reporting, Mr. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, Mr. Wentworth. My understanding, it says it's based on what you reported. He needs to see documentation rather than what you're telling him.
So from my
So
doctor,
the period of time will continue to be suspended until we come back to court September 25 at 1:30.
Your Honor, brief question. Will you permit testimony at that hearing?
With about like 10 minutes. So if you want to bring grandfather, and rather than again as a third party in terms of what he observed, if you want to subpoena Mr. Wentworth's grandfather, then the court puts a very brief
please
testimony.
do subpoena everybody that you want, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Any other questions, Mr. Wentworth?
No.
It's provide the documentation. The court wants nothing more than to reestablish a relationship between you and Colton, but based upon everything I'm hearing, the court's going to err on the side of caution right now, just for another 30 days.
I'm going to give you everything I got, and hopefully that's enough next time.
Have your psychiatrist revise his letter to say that he's reviewed the following documentation. Give him all the documentation and say he's got a reference that in his letter.
That's what the Trinity Health, the summary from there is, but I'm going to do it again.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll see everyone back on September 25th at 1:30 then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
That concludes hearing.
the updated recommendation is in your queue.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Ugh, I don't know why I don't like Stephanie. I just don't, allegedly, in my opinion. Anyways, over to Judge DJ Kometz. Paisley, get it right. And this is a pro se litigant, and you know, and I know alike, that Judge DJ Kometz loves pro se litigants. Here we go. I haven't listened to this one in its entirety because I was busy while I was recording it on my other computer. Yeah, that's right. Flex. But I did hear a couple little bits, and yeah. We're in for a doozy.
And then
tap the lower left hand corner. It should give you a little sign that has a microphone. You tap that microphone and it should unmute you. Am I interrupting his golf game?
no,
I'd hate to do that, you know. But
no, he's not in his truck right now outside. I'm gonna
relax.
walk
I was gonna say, when did he pick up
All right,
golf?
There we are.
Okay,
Mr. Richardson Sr., welcome. Yes,
well,
welcome.
thank you.
No problem. It's okay. You've been called as a witness in this case. Obviously, you're Timothy Richardson Sr., the father of Timothy Richardson, the plaintiff in this, no, the defendant in this matter. So, Mr. Richardson Sr., I think you need to maybe change the hand of the phone you're holding, because I need you to raise your right one.
He's left-handed. Yep.
So am I. If you've been noticing, I'm taking notes. And do you swear, sir, and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony?
Yes, I do.
All right. You are obviously the father of the defendant in this matter. So, Mr. Richardson Jr., if you care to proceed in questioning your father, and I note that you're questioning your father, be careful.
I did want to make that statement real quick, and this is regarding Gina and all you guys asking why I haven't gotten in a program yet. I just wanted to address this because I did send in some information about it.
Well,
right
when you get to testify on your own behalf, when I swear you in, you'll get to testify.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Uh-huh.
You're questioning the witness that is under oath at this point in time. Like I
Gotcha.
said, he's your father. Be careful. But I will allow some leeway, like inheritances and all the other stuff.
All right. My first question is, Dad, the night that you and Shayna met to see Valerie.
And yeah, I miss a lot of Judge Kometz's stuff. He does 30 to 70 hearings a week, and he doesn't broadcast them all. So it's possible that it started in person, it continued on. We just don't get all of his dockets. So I don't have anything prior. I don't recall seeing these people, but I always, if I can, just record and then we'll figure that part out later. And Judge is still drinking from his big mug. Just to let you guys know, the judge is growing his hair out. He's taking a vacation to Florida in September. I'm jealous. He is going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, and his wife has asked him to grow his hair out for his character development. I don't know if we'll hear about that today, but I wanted to let you guys know that. Also, another fun fact about this judge, he has, I believe it's a Jack Daniels barrel bar in his basement made of barrels, and then and all the seats are half barrels. They recline. Yes. That's it. Also, Carol, synopsis about this case, we don't know. I think it's about custody, but we're just all learning it together.
Before I started moving back in with you, and she said that you've been hypocritical because you said things. What did you say to Shayna that day? What was discussed? What was discussed with Valerie that day when you guys all met? What was Valerie asking you? And can you explain in your own words?
Well, she was asking about you, but we had already made a agreement about that date that we would not talk about those things. And your daughter was asking about you, and she had asked me if I think what you're referring to is probably she had asked me if you were going to move in with me, and I said no. And at that particular time, I had meant that, but when a father hears his son crying and he's on the streets, well, I went down and picked him up, but there was rules when he came to my house. Drug tests, and having to set up meetings and to get him sobered up. Father does what he has to do. And from that moment on, he's come a long ways. You've really impressed me lately.
How do you feel when communicating with Shayna? Do you feel she's easy to communicate with? Do you feel like she's difficult to communicate with? Do you feel when you talk to her, you're going to be able to have an easy, pleasant conversation? I mean, especially with your wife, Marilyn, how does Marilyn's opinion feel? And how did Marilyn feel with some of those messages? And if there's any in particular you feel you want to mention that Shayna sent to her and how that made Marilyn feel when she was trying to communicate with Shayna?
Hold on, how can he testify about what Marilyn feels? Who the fuck is Marilyn? I'm sorry. That's just way out of line. Calls for speculation, calls for hearsay, calls for, I'm sure, facts not in evidence, and he's leading his witness like a horse.
We wanted to do is be a part of our granddaughter's life, which Shayna had told us that was not a problem. We'd met the one time before on Valerie's birthday. We met her at Dairy Queen. So, I mean, we had never done anything to ever make her distrust us, nor had we ever lied to her, nor had we ever been dishonest, mean, or anything but outright forthcoming. And we were just trying to keep an open lines of communication between us and the mother of our granddaughter. And in doing so, I guess there was some snide remarks, and maybe she took things the wrong way. But, we never once said anything derogatory about Shayna. She is the mother of my granddaughter, and I am a Christian man. So, I mean, all people are, in the eyes of God, are God's children. So, I mean, that's why I don't talk bad of people. I don't talk ill of people. And if anything was mistaken as such, I mean, I've got all the texts. We can go over them anytime you'd like,
Now is that time.
You
Now
go
at that
first.
time. I
Would you
mean,
say-
what text did you want? I mean, I don't even know how to get to my text right now. I have no clue. No. And I mean, those texts are, I mean, there was nothing mean there. And then she blocked me, wouldn't allow me to text her anymore. So I don't know what that was all about, but let me see if I can get there. Hang on.
Now, unfortunately, your son gets to ask the question, so he's got to guide
Yeah,
this.
sorry. So, did Marilyn ever feel hurt by the way Shayna reacted and talked to her with the way when
Oh,
she was
yeah.
just
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, making false accusations against us, telling people that we're an unsafe house. I mean, my goodness, we're both upstanding members of our church, and I mean, if you're wondering how I live, follow me around. I've had nothing to hide, absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of false accusations that she made against us, but we're not going to do the same thing to her.
I appreciate that, Dad. How do you feel about my change? Do you feel like I've actually changed this time? And did you feel like I was actively seeking help and support? And have I been trying to actively do everything I can for counseling? What is your opinion on me doing all that? Have you seen any progress towards me doing that? Or what's your opinion on my change?
You made a total turnaround. I mean, it's a total difference. I think that you continue to work on it. I think that you have shown me that your kids are the most important thing in your life, and as you and I have talked in the past, you were going to change everything because your kids meant that much to you, and you have. It's just you impressed me, like I said before.
Um, do you, I think I read this. Do you remember, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this question exactly, so correct me if I'm wrong, Judge. I'm trying to figure out where this, but do you remember when I was trying to get into counseling and support, what they said, and the reason why I couldn't get in was because they were backlogged? Do you remember that conversation we had about how I've been trying
Crowbarring.
and they kept
This isn't even leading. This is crowbarring testimony in. Oh, hi Hayden. There is some crowbarring happening here. Julie, the snarky one, is here. Sorry if you can hear the noise going on out there. I was just thinking, YouTube Daddy is messing with us tonight. No memberships are being given out. Please don't try. He'll give you the money back. But it is depressing as fuck for me to see. But I am glad that everybody's here, and I don't know why neither of them have attorneys. I am thinking it is money, but who knows? Who knows?
just telling me, running me around. No, yes, no, yes, no. We got a counselor. We don't got a counselor. Do you remember that whole ordeal of what I've been trying to go through and how I'm still working through, even since I moved out of your house? Do you remember me trying very hard when I was at your house to get into counseling?
Yeah, there was so much money, and you were trying to get to where you could have some way to pay for it, and they wouldn't look at you for the money. I remember that conversation and trying to get you set up on any programs or assistance that we could in order to get you into counseling, and there was nowhere you could go because of it without, none of us could afford to send you to that type of counseling. So, you did check at Arbor Circle, and I remember her calling me and talking with me and you starting that setup, and that's when you I don't remember. You moved up here about that time, I think.
Yeah, I moved up here, and if I'm making a wrong statement, Judge, correct me. I'm just filling the rest of the information. I was unable to go to that program because currently Newaygo is full and not receiving new applicants. I'm even having problems with that.
When was this?
This would have been right before I moved in, so mid-July. I was just got my insurance.
2024.
Yep. This is because I took me this long to get Medicaid, so I just got Medicaid.
All right. Sorry, I just jumped through some hoops just to make sure I have the timeline correct. Okay. Please continue.
Yep. And so with Medicaid, and I'm not gonna say this by myself, so I'm wait till my disposition. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm trying hard to do this right. Dad, when you heard from Shayna that you were an unsafe household, how did that impact Marilyn personally and you? And what did that make you guys feel like when she said that? Do you feel like that was out of a place of what's best for Valerie, or where do you feel like that came from?
Well, yeah, because she had told us when we met that it was no problem for if we wanted to take Valerie vacation. We said, we like to take the grandkids camping, that. And she acted like that would be fine because I even said to her as we left, I'll call you and talk to you. And that's all we were trying to do with her was to establish lines of communication and have a relationship with our granddaughter. And she continued to badmouth us, and yeah, that hurt. I mean, but we forgive people. I mean, like I said, we're Christians. We forgive people, and we understand that. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to say it, but I'm thinking that she's lashing out at anything. It just seemed like she was being mean and spiteful to me, is what it seemed like. Without, I don't like saying bad things about people, but that's what it intended to me to be.
So if I'm correctly, what you're saying is, well, yes, she was looking out for her daughter. It was more than that. It was not just looking out for her daughter. It was also, how much can I hurt Timothy? And you're saying it was a bit of both of that. And it was coming from a right place, but she took it too far. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
That's not
Well,
a
what I'm
question.
saying,
All right, ma'am, no, let him answer the question.
what I'm saying is she was well aware that our house is a safe household. She lived in my household when I was married to my previous wife. I've now since been remarried. I mean, her and Timothy lived in my house. What I'm saying is she was well aware that it was a safe house. There was no issues there. And when she turned a 180 and said we're an unsafe house and this and that, there was no evidence, no proof of that. We've always been allowed to watch our granddaughter. We've always, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because I believe it went more than a mother protecting her child. Yes, I believe that she was doing it out of spite and just mean because her daughter was asking about her father when we were at the restaurant. I mean, she can't continually brought up your name, Timmy. I mean, I it's just, I don't think it's good for the child right now. I think the child needs a father. I think her father's doing well, and I think he needs to be in her life. And I think his daughter, and Shayna's daughter would benefit from having her father in her life. And I'm just shocked that Shayna can't see that.
I see many things. We'll get to that.
I was going to say, you get to cross-examine, let him finish with his examination.
My next question for you, Dad, is, do you feel I'm capable of taking care of raising my daughter with the turnaround I made? Do you feel confident saying that? Because you said to me before I got better, that there was no way I could do it, and that I, basically deserved to have Shayna take Valerie away, which you were right about at the time. But how do you feel about me now?
I feel you're more than capable, And even at that point when I told you that, there was a point there, yes. And now, yeah, you're the best I've seen you in a long time, Timothy. I mean, you're in good shape now. You're doing well.
So you've seen me in my ins and ups throughout my whole life, struggling with my addictions and my problems. What is different about this one than any of the other previous times? What, in your personal opinion, makes you truly believe that I have seriously changed? What have I done to show it to you? What have I done to prove it to you? What actions have I taken to prove it to you?
Just in the way that you carry yourself, in the way that your everything, your demeanor, in the way that you talked about it, eliminated those people from your life that were a problem, and eliminated those numbers and separated yourself from all of that. That's what the biggest thing I've noticed is your total change.
The change you're referring to with lumber stuff, are you referring to the fact when I deleted all my former contacts with people, how I've changed my number to get away from those people, how I've done a lot I can do to separate myself from those people? Is that the moment you're referring to?
Yeah, like right now you're not going back to work in the factory, because that's the factories is where I'm sorry, but our factories in America today are the worst drug-riddled places in this state, in this county. That's where all the drugs are. And when you're working in the
What? Allegedly? I'm what? It's a factory of cocaine. It's the cocaine factory. I thought factories these days would be got, you know, cameras everywhere. Oh, that's my favorite kind of fucking factory. I love it. Also, you know, what have we learned about court? When it's your parents testifying for you, it means very little. I'm sorry. It means very little. Y'all obviously practiced. I mean, I'll give you that, but, you know, that's about it.
Factory, you know, you had told me that, and that's why you're seeking other types of employment and changing your career so that you don't have to be involved with that type of stuff. I mean, that shows real change.
So when you say changing my career, you're referring to the fact that I am intentionally taking money, intentionally choosing jobs where I make less money than what I could because it's what's healthier for me versus what's more profitable for me, that I'm more or less throwing away years and years of training to start a new field because it's the healthy choice for me.
You know, yeah, that's exactly what I said.
So that in your mind would be one way I've definitely shown how I've changed, that I'm purposely not allowing myself to be in those work environments because I know it's an unhealthy place for me.
Yes.
And that I'm actively doing things like cutting all my old contacts and deleting numbers and changing my phone number, and have made as much distance as possible for me from those people, that I have moved far enough away to where, God, if I ever do get a craving, I'm 2 hours away from driving to a person that I don't even know if they live there anymore. Just saying that I've made all these walls within myself to prevent a weak moment from taking over, not because I want to, you know, relapse, but because I want to make sure that I have the best possible chance of continuing my recovery.
Yes, Timothy, I told you before, you're taking all the right steps. We just, you got to make sure that you follow through on everything, you know, and that's what I keep pushing you to do, is keep following through on stuff, which you have been. So, you know, yes.
So you feel that on my own, without support at this point, if I can continue to stay sober, do you feel I'm at that point now? Not that I'm not going to seek help, but that I don't need to be watched 24/7, that I'm confident enough that I don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's really, really all I got, is just how much I've changed. And if there's anything else you want to say, Dad, regarding all this.
You know, you always, as I'm going to say this I'm going to address the court in this and both parties. You always tend to not see some things that your sons, or your children may do. You tend to maybe turn a blind eye to it. And this time I no longer turned a blind eye to it. We've worked hard on this together, and through church and through, you know, through God himself. I've told my son that recovery is 97% successful with God in your life, you know, and I'm a big advocate.
I'm sorry, what? Did he just say 97%? Sir, cite your sources. Jesus Christ.
And I think that's got a lot to do with it. You know, he's starting to give his life up to God and starting to follow those ways. And if he continues to do that, there's no problems. You know, I mean, it's going to keep him clean and sober. He's going to do those things that are best for his family and best for him. You know, that's what we talked about while he was living with us. You know, we discussed those things and how to be a better person and about temper control and anger management and, you know, all that. So.
Thank you, Dad.
Okay. Ms. Gonzalez-Steen, you may cross-examine this witness.
Hi, Tim. So, to start, why did Timmy move out?
Move out? You mean all of this since the last time?
And when was that? Let's go with that.
You know, time this summer has gone by so fast. It was the beginning of summer.
Yeah. So it was May, June.
Yeah, May, June.
Okay,
right
so he
in there.
moved.
I
He
mean,
moved out
he
then.
didn't actually move out. It was over time that he moved out. He just kind of, the guy he was helping out around our area doing some building construction work with was just not a good person. I mean, and he was drinking too much and he had to distance himself from it.
Wait,
There
the
was
guy
no
that he
work
was working with,
available
or
there.
the guy that he
The
was
guy-
working with, or Tim?
No. The guy he was working with, not Tim.
Okay,
He
thank
was
you.
working with a buddy of his. He was working with a buddy of his, and the guy was drinking after work and stuff. And my son did not want to be around that. And he said, "Look, Dad," he says, "I just can't work with him anymore." He says, "I'm going to have to." So he moved up here looking for work up here. And as him and Jordan started getting along, Jordan actually, when she saw him, it was kind of funny because we were having custody. He was coming up here and picking him up. She looked at him, and the minute she looked at him, she goes, "Oh my." She could tell because the color was back in his face. He was putting on weight. He looked healthier. You know what I mean? She knew he was on the right track, and she
Can
could
I
see
get
the
back to
change
my
in him too.
questions?
Hold on. No, let him
Yeah.
finish answering. Then you may ask the next question.
Let him finish telling his rambling story. What was the fucking question, Judge? Her objections are valid at this point. Come on. What the fuck? I need to run and get a drink. Can I get back before anything happens? Probably. Look at his face. He's like, bitch, the men are talking. We're having a talk.
Let him finish
Yeah.
answering.
And I mean, she had seen the change in him, and that's when he moved up here because of work. I just see him avoiding those situations now that normally would have, those people that, I mean, we're all familiar with those people. We have to make those choices in our life to who we surround ourselves with. And I think he's being very cautious about that right now.
But this boss that you mentioned that was drinking, was that not Dylan Masselink?
Yep.
Did he not live with you guys in your home for some time as well?
Yeah, he lived in our home on and off for about 2-3 weeks until I found out that he had an open warrant for him, and I told him it was not allowed. There was nobody in our house that was going to have an open warrant or an open court warrant because my wife works for the court and she is not going to lie to anybody. Neither do I.
And when was that?
That was earlier than May. That was because I remember it being cold, and I told him you can, because he got his stuff getting ready to leave.
Within the past year?
Oh yeah, that was this year. That was in 24. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I started working for Dylan after I moved in with my dad's. There you go.
Which was when?
That would have been after I got out of jail. Right after I got out of jail, so I moved with my dad and everything. After all that happened.
The judge's face. Did you see the judge's face when he said, when he was like, "Yeah, well, it was cold. It was this year." Oh dear. She's bossing this so far.
So I lived with somebody for a minute, and then I moved back over to dad.
So Dylan wasn't technically living with us, Shayna. He was just spending the night there, and then it turned into like 2-3 nights in a row, and that's when we looked into that situation.
And again,
my wife just Googled it,
in the past few months, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I say, we were not going to allow that in our house. We're not going to be harboring fugitive.
I get that, but we're talking. It's all recent events.
Yes, all recent events. Yep.
Okay. These are reasons why I brought this up, because that is concerning to invite someone in your home that you didn't understand their situation.
Well, that's what I'm telling you, Shayna. As soon as he came into our home, we did the research on him. My wife looked it up because something didn't seem right. And it's like, that story doesn't add up. And as soon as we looked it up, we found out and it confronted him immediately. He wasn't living there. He wasn't living there. Like I said, he was instead of driving home, he'd asked to crash there. So we kind of set up a room so if he wanted to crash there, but it wasn't every night. It was 1 or 2 nights a week. And that's when things didn't add up. And that's when we looked at it and said, nope, we're not going to allow this. Not even 1 or 2 nights a week.
And he didn't warn you that Dylan was a past friend that would supply him with drugs and that he was a known user in the past? He didn't tell you that?
I had no information about that. No, ma'am.
Rules. You mentioned that you had told him he had to do meetings. Was that for rehab or counseling? And what documentation do you have from that actually held? Like, did he actually make appointments?
I left that up to him. And then like I said, his counselor called and said that he had talked to him and that they were working on getting him in. And I have drug tests that I give him. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. He had the drug test. You bet. There was none of that going to be allowed in my house.
Right. So you mentioned that there wasn't money for counseling, but these past times that he was incarcerated, who was the person that bailed him out?
Wasn't me. Was not me.
And then, what steps, you say he's taken the steps, he's doing better. What steps are you talking about? What exactly do you see that he's done that actually hold? And you see that he's learned from these actions and he can make better decisions and not out of fear made by him, like his own self.
First off, Shana, he's sober. Okay, he's sober and he's not doing drugs, and that'll clear your mind. And he is making better decisions being sober. And now he knows enough not to put himself around those people. He knows his weaknesses, he's facing his weaknesses, and he's not going to allow that to happen to his life again. That's how important his children are to him.
But also what's important is that you verified that he has had these ups and downs where he keeps getting mixed in with these people. And I know for a fact that his phone number has changed numerous times.
I'll take the over on that, Mark. I will take the over on that.
He told us just a moment ago that he knows he has a 2-hour drive from Reed City. What actually do you think is holding him back from doing this? Do you think it's actually him making sound decisions, or is he scared of getting in trouble again?
No, I think it's good decisions. I mean, getting in trouble never scared him before, did it?
No.
I mean, think about it. I mean, he's making good decisions is what he's doing.
But what steps have you seen? Like, do you know the actual steps that he's taken for improvement?
Well, I know for a fact that, he calls me and talks to me quite often. If there's anything that's questionable, we'll discuss it. And the other thing I see, like I said, he's eliminated people from his life. He's not working in the same place, even though he can make a whole lot more money. He's not working there. He's retraining. He's getting himself ready to be. He just like that's. I mean, just same thing I told Timmy is he's went through a lot of different things to change his lifestyle, to change his habits, and to eliminate stress and eliminate anger.
But do you think if presented with moments of anger and stress, can he handle himself? Because you have mentioned that I thought it was an unsafe household. And like I mentioned, the boss being moved in now is an alcoholic, the warrants and whatnot. These are fair concerns. What false accusations would you say that I've said in order to make you seem?
Well, and I just hear what people have told me you have said. So I guess maybe that you have said that we were an unsafe household, which is untrue, and you know that. I mean, like you want to bring that back to Dylan. He never drank while he was at my house. He wasn't allowed. There's that kind of stuff's not allowed in my house. I mean, I've got a bottle of wine in the cupboard, Shana, that's been there for 2 years that my wife and I keep threatening to have over a dinner one night.
To clarify, I don't think anything has been said that your house is unsafe. Yeah. What has been said is there's a concern because he's there and he's unsafe.
Oh.
So no, you have never been accused of having an unsafe household, okay. Mr. Richardson. Okay. Not you. It's just that your son is unsafe because there's concerns of his decisions, regardless of how you're trying to help him. So I just wanted to clarify. No one's accused you of having an unsafe house. What they've said is that there's an unsafe house because he's there because of the decisions he makes, regardless of your protections.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's just in my house.
I understand. It's not.
I am the boss.
Yeah.
In my house, and I mean, I don't mean to say that to sound sexist either. Well, but I mean, all decisions go through me, and you know what I'm saying. I'm not actually. My wife's the boss. I just asked her if I can make these decisions.
I was going to say I just celebrated. I just celebrated my 33rd wedding anniversary, and I get
Yeah, you
that.
know where I'm coming from. Then,
Yeah,
so,
and
yeah.
my wife is the boss, but at the same time, I will admit that I don't know everything that goes on in my own household as much as I try to keep it safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody's accusing you of keeping it unsafe. What they're accusing is that, or what they're stating, or what the testimony has said, is that he's unsafe, whether he's in your household or not, because of decisions he's making, irregardless of how you can control the atmosphere.
Yeah. And like I said, I have never personally seen him unsafe, Shayna, myself. All I've heard is what you or Jordan or somebody else has told me, but I personally have never seen it. I would assume that's out of respect for me, you know, that's
Very much so. No one said anything against you or your wife. Nobody. No
I have all due
testimony.
respect for you and Marilyn.
Including Ms. Gonzalez Dean. She has never said anything against you. She's just
Right.
concerned because of,
May I speak
you know,
plainly about that real quick?
let's face it, we all take care of our kids.
Referee
Well,
Smith, can I
that's
speak
what I'm
to him on
saying.
that matter for a second?
Well, and Ms. Gonzalez Dean, yes.
So I had approached Marilyn in a sense of, hey, this man is doing drugs. He's not getting help. Can you get help? And unfortunately, it didn't seem like she wanted to do tough love and get rehabilitation and things like
Again,
that for him.
we'll go with your questions on Mr. Richardson Sr. then.
I
That's
just didn't
above
want him
and
to
beyond.
think they're ill feelings.
I know. That's what I was trying to point out, is that no one's accused him or his wife of having an unsafe household. What the concerns are is that the decisions of their son, regardless of how, you know, they act or try to maintain, there's concerns about his decisions. So
his decision making, like I say, I have never seen him make those decisions in front of me.
I never saw him actually smoke the meth, Your Honor. You know, the smoking of the meth is actually a small part of the meth addiction overall. Mark, please come back tomorrow. Now I will worry, even though I know you're kidding. This is so bad. A lawyer would be eviscerating this. None of this is good. It's all hearsay, double hearsay. Who the fuck is Marilyn? Where is she?
I've heard of them. I've seen some of the repercussions of them. And I mean,
well,
the person I see now, I've actually got my son back. Put it that way. I have got.
Kids are great at hiding things. Kids are amazing at hiding things.
Well, and I'm telling you what, this last little episode, he'd have a tough time hiding things from me now. You know, if I have any questions, he knows. I've got, you know, like I said,
understood.
when he was staying at our house,
there are concerns about him, not about you.
And I see the same person now that I did when he moved out of our house. I see the person determined to stay sober.
I just wanted you to know that she's not. I just wanted to know.
I understand. I thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah. She has not questioned you or your wife. She has questioned the father of her perfect child.
And that was my answer to her question. Like I said, I see a big change in him. I've got my son back. You know, I mean,
and we'll get
through
into
the years.
that
He's hid some stuff from us. I don't think he can pull it off no more because I'm a little leery. You know, when I look at him, I'm looking at him with that judgmental look, and you know, and I'm not afraid to say, here, pee in this cup. We're going to find out. You know, if there's anything up, you know, there's not a question in my mind what I'll do. But he hasn't given me that. I don't see that in him. I just don't see it in his eyes. And I'm a father, and I see that.
Yeah, I understand that. That's the concern of a father. So I will let Ms. Gonzalez Dean continue with her cross-examination.
So
I just wanted you to know that she's never questioned you.
Yep.
No.
Say it again, Judge. Say it again. Can you tell us again? Look at his face. He's cringing. You're cringing at yourself. We're all cringing at home. You're gonna get yourself a new nickname. It's gonna be Judge Cringe. That is so fucking funny. Oh my god. Oh jeez. We went back 10 seconds. Listen.
Concern of a father. So I will let Ms. Gonzalez Dean continue with her cross-examination.
So,
I just wanted you to know that she's never questioned you.
Yep.
no, I love you, Tim. Sorry. It's just, this is what it is.
This is
Yep.
this is where we're at. This is the court situation. And sometimes if I can explain that, because there are relationships here that I don't want to destroy, because people aren't destroying them, even though they feel like they are.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
you guys, no matter how I rule, no matter what happens here, you guys are related.
He wants to be a therapist so bad. Judge! 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 I think you missed your calling. I think you missed your calling. You're obviously fine sitting with people during uncomfortable moments and asking them direct questions. So perhaps, maybe you should have become a therapist or a psychiatrist or something. Because I don't know, is this the judging that we need? Is this the judginess? Can you imagine Judge Cranky with this? He'd be like, "Sir! She's asking you questions! I'm mad! Rawr!"
Because you have this wonderful child.
And that's why I still meet and stuff. And we
I
have
just
had
want to see
meetings.
my daughter
It's
again,
just-
man. That's all I want. I
Yeah.
just want to see my daughter.
And that's where we're getting to. So I just have to do it correctly and safely.
Yep, I understand I messed up, and I bottom line, I just.
Well,
like I said,
and the mess up is recent. So let's
Oh.
go. Miss Gonzalez Dean, please conclude or continue.
Tim, you had mentioned a couple times previously and currently about leaning heavily on religion for Mr. Richardson. But that's your hope. Do you see a hope in himself that he has found God and is making those changes? Or do you still feel like that's your, kind of like you pushing and him just reacting?
That's my hope for everybody. That's my hope for you too, Shayna, just to clarify that question. But no, I see a change in his heart. I really do. I mean, and if you took the time to look, Shayna, and understand, and I understand, there's been a lot of hard things that went on. But if you look at him, Shayna, and you look at him in the eyes and you really talk to him, instead of you guys being angry with each other, you'll see what I'm seeing. He's a changed man.
I'm not trying to come out with anger, just boundaries and what can we do
Well,
to...
I mean, you both got, I'm not saying you both got angry, I mean, you're both kind of mad at each other a little bit. And it's understandable in this situation,
Really
I mean,
not
you're
mad.
trying to protect your daughter and he's trying to see her, his daughter. I mean, and that's the issue. Yep. And I just want what's best for the child. And so does Timothy. So.
Past year's just given a lot of concerning events where I brought up to you and Marilyn, and instead of working with me to come up to a resolution, it felt as though I just had to put up with things. Why did you not come to me on a personal level like, hey, my son needs help, as I came to you guys that he needed help? Why was it always seeming like a fight versus a, hey, let's get Mr. Richardson Jr. some help?
Why would I discuss that with you?
As the mother of his child?
You had never called me and mentioned anything to me. I thought our lines of communication were open between me and you. I was well aware of what he was doing while he was living with me and before he was living with me. I was well aware of what he was doing when him and Jordan split up, but I mean, sometimes you got to let him fall, and that's where he was. And that's why, Shayna, when I seen that situation, for the protection of my granddaughter, your daughter, and his daughter, I called you and told you that he had been put in jail. I didn't do that out of spite. I would have picked her up. My daughter Shannon would have picked her up, but that's why I called you, hon, and said, hey, look, because I love you and I love Val,
And I love you as well. But why
Yeah.
didn't, when I came to you for counseling, why didn't you?
When
with
did you come to me for counseling?
Multiple times. That's why I told Marilyn and you as well. We've messaged. We need some tough love. And you very directly told me that unfortunately with religion, you don't have tough love. You want him to come to Christ.
I had never said that. I told you we were doing tough love. That's why he was out on the street. That's why he lived on the street. Was tough. That's what tough love was right there.
No, I have
mean,
the text.
I let him
Tim,
go
where
to
you
jail.
said you
I
couldn't.
didn't post bail.
All right.
I never posted bail for him. That was tough love. I don't know who posted. I know who posted bail now, but I didn't know at that time. But I was going to leave him in jail.
All right, let me go with the question that I had at one point, because I've got a couple. You said there was a point in time that he was on the streets. When was that, Mr. Richardson?
That was just before he moved in with us.
Which was
Right after he got out of jail.
Which was when?
My dates was in this year, in 24. Yeah. February,
Okay.
March.
February, March. Okay. Thank you. I'm just trying to place times on some of this stuff. Because people testify to all this stuff, and then I find out sometimes that it's years ago. Sometimes I find out it was last month. Because nobody testified. So that was this year.
Yep.
Okay.
I've had no issues in the past other than this year where it came into question, with Valerie, where I felt that he was unable, in his current condition.
Well, obviously he was in the streets, and that's your testimony, and that was earlier this year. Okay.
Yep.
I was just trying to put a timeline to that since this testimony went there. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, please continue. I apologize about interrupting. I'm just trying to put a timeline on this.
I believe I have no further questions at this time.
All right. Mr. Richardson Jr.
Call me Timmy, call him Tim. The son's Timothy. Timmy, Timothy. Or my dad calls him
Tim Taroo. I don't really care for you. Julie, I have to say something to you. I laugh. You saw me laughing there just a moment ago. That is because Streamlabs, that dick, is our friendly, well-developed chat bot around here. It is not a person. I am always reminded of the time a good and well-meaning person came to me with great concerns. They had seen one of my mods in a chat acting a fool, causing trouble. I was like taken aback. I said, what? Who? Oh my gosh. And they said, Streamlabs. Sorry if I laughed. Streamlabs is basically like a free program. But I do find it, like, that person came to me in true worry. They're like, this is, and I was like, it's not the person. Anyways, our Streamlabs bot has many different commands. Many different commands. You can do !boobs, oh wait, is it boobs? No, boobs will do it, beads will do it. Gobble, one of my favorite. You can pickpocket around here. We give out points just for hanging out. We let you gamble. Although I'll warn you, I skewed the slots. Slots suck.
Well, but yeah, I got to distinguish because I got a Timothy Richardson and a Timothy Richardson. So
it's Tim, my dad. I'm Timmy.
Yes.
My son is Timothy.
All right, Timmy, go for it. Any re-examination of your father?
That's what everyone does it.
I'll allow questions on your inheritance or something if you want, but
hey, there's some benefits.
I'm spending it.
Good for you. Go for it. Yes.
Yeah. Curling out.
Speaking as a fellow gray hair. Love it.
Yeah. Well, at least you got all yours. I'm missing some of mine now.
Well, we won't go with the headset.
I got the back.
Yeah,
the people that sit behind me. The people that sit behind me in church think I'm bald.
Yeah, the headset hides mine, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy. Now that we've got that set.
Good question, dude. I just lost it. Darn it. Oh, hold on. Oh, Dylan, when he was living with us and when I started working for him, do you recall the fact that he made a big deal about him being sober and finding God?
Yeah, that's what he told me. And that's why he could stay there. He told me he'd sobered up and found God and everything else. And talking to him, like I said, things just didn't add up. That's why Marilyn looked into it,
So did you say me and Dylan bonded over the fact that we were both now sober people trying to live a sober life?
Yep.
And would you say that I stopped associating myself with Dylan the exact moment I felt he was dipping back into losing his sobriety, that I said, that's not good for me and cut ties? Would you say that's what happened?
That's what I already said that happened. I already said that.
I wanted to clarify for the court that.
Yes, that's what I would say happened. Yes.
And the second he lost his wagon, I was done with him and his company and decided that I would rather be jobless and find a new job than work with somebody who could potentially lead to my downfall.
Yep. Absolutely.
So would you say that was a smart choice on my part in actively taking steps to keep my sobriety.
Yes, yeah. The only way you can do better, Timmy, is by surrounding yourself with better people.
Exactly. So, in your opinion, the fact that I literally gave up my job and source of income in exchange for my sobriety, is that a sign that I have changed?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Judge, if you have any questions for him.
I do, actually. Mr. Richardson, what's your
Yes.
understanding of addiction?
My understanding of an addiction is a substance that controls you, whether it be alcohol, whether it be crystal meth, whether it be cocaine, whatever, heroin, whatever.
What's your understanding of trying to get away from that addiction?
My understanding of trying to get away from that addiction is to be in control of your, to be free of that.
Timelines?
Timelines. What do you mean timelines?
How long? People find God within a month, but addiction has a different timeline of itself. That's why I'm asking you what your understanding is.
My understanding of timeline? Well, I've been dealing with my brother, who's been with alcoholism with my older brother. And, he'll stay sober for 6 months or so and then go back. But in dealing with that, every time you think, okay, this is it, this is good.
Oh my God, look at her. She jumped up in the dark to turn on the lights. I used to work in an office that had those lights. Oh my God. Watch this. Seriously, watch the top right corner. Hi, Mac. Also, who else just showed up late? Tin Man.
And go back. But in dealing with that, every time you think, okay, this is it, this is good. But I've always had that doubt with my brother, okay? And dealt with it. I've been my brother's keeper for a lot of years, and got him through a lot of stuff. This time, I just know when somebody is trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I've been wizened up through dealing with these people. And also I deal with a lot of people at work. And we deal with that younger generation. I've seen them come in, I've seen them go, and I have to deal with them. I have to pull them aside. I have to reprimand or the last case we had to fire somebody. We had to let somebody go and we turned them into it. So I know what it is. I know what I'm looking for now. I've educated myself on it. I've asked the questions. I've talked to people to understand what the signs are. That's what I'm trying to understand more about addiction than I do. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
No problem. I understand. I just wanted to understand that you realized with your testimony that this is an ongoing issue, correct?
Yes.
It doesn't cure itself in a month.
No.
Or two.
No, it's a lifetime.
But it does take the support system that you're providing.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to get to. Because this is all recent.
Yes.
There are concerns. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to get there.
Absolutely.
At this point in time, unfortunately, we're at 5 o'clock. So, Mr. Richardson, do you have any other witnesses?
I do have one more.
I think you do have. So we're going to have to schedule this for another day.
Okay, I figured as much.
I apologize. I'd love to go on for hours, but I'm not going to keep you all here. And
that.
Mr. Richardson, not Timmy, sorry. You're stuck in a car, man.
Yeah. He's right outside my house. He's not uncomfortable. He's in his nice.
Oh, he's outside your. Wait, you wouldn't even let him in the house? Come on, dude.
It's a different room. I'm trying to follow your rules.
Well, a different room, but man, the
Be nicer
car?
to your dad.
Oh, I just
Be
be
nicer,
outside.
dude.
I work outside. I'm good.
He likes
I'm
to
so sorry, Mr. Richardson. Jeez.
That he washes
Your
every
receipt
day
on at least?
that he cares a lot about. He'll
Okay.
go on.
Hey,
I have
no
my door
harm,
open and
No
We had
harm,
a
no
young one
foul.
bump his head.
It's hot out there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm good.
I want to make
Don't
sure
be
everybody is
outside.
comfortable. No, Timmy, I get it. Worry
Yeah.
about it. I'm just trying to make sure nobody's in the same room so they don't hear the testimony. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's what he's trying to do,
That's
of
all
course.
this is about. But let's make sure your mom doesn't have to testify from the car, okay? Find her,
Well,
you know,
it's
find
not
her
my
a
mom. It's only the
bedroom or
lady that
something,
testified against
man.
Yeah. All right.
There's
I
more
look
rooms
forward.
here.
I look
This is
forward to
where I'm the
hearing
most
her.
comfortable.
Oh, okay. In that case,
He's a
never
construction
mind.
worker, so he's the head of construction. You know, you ever seen Ricky
Yeah.
and the Boss short? He's the boss.
Okay. You know, I was thinking, Mr. Richardson, find a recliner next time.
He goes back. He's probably the most comfortable of all of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, you can have a remote in your hand just to make sure you're really comfortable.
If it gets too hot, I got AC.
Good point. In any event, let's make sure your mom's comfortable for the next hearing. Separate
That's not
room
my
for
mom. It's
you.
a friend of the family.
And that was that, folks. He cut the stream like a guy interrupted pissing by a cop. Okay? Cut it like that. That was so cringerama. So cringy. It honestly made me hurt. It hurt me a little bit. I don't know about you. I think she should get a lawyer. If a lawyer saw that, a lawyer would not believe. If we described that hearing to a lawyer, they would not believe it happened the way that you described it. They wouldn't. They just actually would not believe that. You would have to show them this hearing, but they couldn't bring it forward because you're not allowed to record court. Funny little loophole they got you in. Anyways, oh, that was very loud. Anyways, I hope that everybody's doing very well today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. Check out some of the links that I put over there in the chat. Like I said, we do this every day, twice on Sundays, and I sit on OnlyFans twice a week. Tomorrow we have even more court to watch. It's gonna get crazy, so make sure to buckle up and enjoy. Remember that I love you, I am proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Ways down and ready to